Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to tackle this really counterintuitive idea. What if all that chaos you feel in your life, when things just feel broken, what if that's not a bad sign? What if it's actually a sign that things are falling into place? It sounds kind of crazy, I know. Let's dive in.
So, to get our heads around this, we need to start with this really powerful idea. It comes from a framework called complexity alignment. And here's the gist. It basically says that the universe, we're talking everything from tiny particles all the way up to us, to people, it isn't just random. It actually has this built-in tendency to move away from pure randomness and organize itself into stable, meaningful patterns.
All right, so let's dig into that a little more. Now, the theory says that complexity, the stuff we usually just call chaos, it's not just a messy jumble of whatever. It's actually more like fertile ground. It's the place where these coherent, stable structures can naturally pop up and actually stick around.
And the key concept here, the absolute game changer, is this idea of a filter. Okay? Think about it like this. For any given thing, there are a billion ways it could be, but only a handful of those are actually stable enough to exist for more than a second. So, these filters, and this is wild, they can be anything from the laws of physics to something like trust between people. They're the bouncers at the club. They're what weed out all the unstable, chaotic options and, boom, that's how order emerges.
Okay, so we can actually break this down into a really simple three-step flow. First, you've got S, which stands for singularity. Just imagine an infinite ocean of pure potential, everything that could possibly happen. Then you have Phi, the filter. This is that sieve we were talking about, the thing that prunes away the chaos. And what's left? That's P, the plane of insensation. It's kind of like the landing spot. It's the one stable reality that manages to make it all the way through the filter and becomes what we actually experience. And you know what? Yes, you are the perfect proof that this whole thing works. I mean, the very fact that you're sitting there right now, thinking about these ideas, understanding what I'm saying, that's all the evidence you need that the universe isn't just pure random chaos. Your own consciousness, your mind, is a living, breathing example of a stable, coherent pattern that won out over an infinity of other possibilities.
Okay, but wait a second. That raises a pretty massive question, right? If the whole universe is wired for order and stability, then why does our life, so often feel like it's just completely falling apart? Why do we have those moments, those days, those weeks where we feel so profoundly not okay?
And we've all been there, haven't we? That sudden, gut-wrenching feeling. The floor just drops out from under you. A relationship ends, a project you poured your heart into fails, maybe your whole sense of who you are just shatters. It doesn't just feel bad. It feels like a personal attack, like an ambush that just came out of nowhere to ruin everything.
But here's the thing. When you're standing there in the middle of all that wreckage, that chaos, it kind of forces you to look around. It forces a reflection you probably didn't want. And you start to realize these cracks, they aren't just random damage from the explosion. They're a mirror. And they're showing you the fault lines, the fractures that were already there, just growing silently under the surface the whole time.
And this right here leads to a crucial reframe, a total shift in perspective. What if chaos isn't some evil, malicious force out to get you? What if it's not trying to destroy you at all? What if it's just a signal? Like a giant flashing neon sign pointing directly at the parts of your life that are unresolved, the things that are out of alignment. So this brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. This is the core insight. What if we completely reframe how we think about dissonance, about tension, about that feeling of discomfort? What if it's not a problem to be solved? What if it's the very engine that creates order? I mean, typically our first instinct when we feel that dissonance, that not okay feeling, is to see it as a failure, right? It's something wrong, something broken that we need to silence or escape or just numb ourselves to. But what if we chose that other view? What if instead of running from it, we saw it as a powerful, even productive signal, a catalyst, pointing us back to where we need to be, guiding us back into alignment? And this is the moment. This is where it all clicks together. This is how our own personal feelings connect right back to that big, universal theory of complexity. See, the source material points out that in whole societies, values like honesty and reliability, they act as filters. They trim away the chaos and help society find a stable balance. Well, guess what? In our own personal lives, that tension, that friction, that dissonance we feel, that is the filter. It's the exact same process, just happening inside of us.
So if we boil this whole entire explainer down to just one single core idea, it's this. That chaos you feel, it is not a sign that the system has failed. It is the system. That's the whole point. It's the filter in your life doing its job. It's pointing out what's not working anymore, what's unstable, what's out of alignment. And it's creating the pressure that's absolutely necessary for a new, better, more coherent pattern to take its place.
Okay, so if this dissonance is actually the engine, not the problem, what do we do about it? How do we actually learn to work with that energy instead of what we normally do, which is just fight against it all the time? How do we practice this alchemy of alignment?
Well, the key seems to be a huge mindset shift from resistance to, believe it or not, collaboration. So instead of fighting the current, you learn to flow with it. That's what it means to embrace motion. And instead of desperately trying to get rid of tension the second you feel it, you learn to just hold it. Be patient with it. When you do that, you can start to really listen to the tension. Let that discomfort be your guide, showing you exactly where alignment is missing. And through all of that, you learn to trust the flow, to believe that this whole messy process has value, even when you have no idea where you're going to end up.
And this right here, this quote just nails it. It captures the goal so perfectly. See, the point isn't to get to some perfect, static, chaos-free life. That's not real. The real goal is to integrate all of it. The moments of clarity and the moments of total chaos, the stillness and the motion, the good and the bad. You weave it all together to create this rich, dynamic, living tapestry. The real harmony isn't found by getting rid of the dissonance. It's found in the beautiful, complex, and amazing pattern that they create together.
So let's leave you with this. The next time you feel that pull of chaos, that familiar sinking feeling of being not okay, try to catch yourself. Instead of immediately asking that question we all ask, why is this happening to me? Maybe there's a better question, a more powerful one. The one we want to leave you with today is this. What is your dissonance trying to tell you? Because the answer to that question, well, that might just be the beginning of your next great transformation.